What do you see, Elaine?
It's just our logo. That's all that's on my screen.
So you don't see the little people at the bottom? You don't see all the people at the bottom? You don't see everybody that's in the meeting at the bottom of your screen?
Okay, now I see they got mine is backwards. Okay, it's showing my living room.
It's showing what?
We're live now.
Okay. All right. I don't think we have either of the Johns here yet, do we? John Milling or John Seegers?
I've not seen either one.
Okay, now I see they got.
Hello. All right. Are we ready?
Mayor.
You doing, Brian? Kind of Sheila's here. Howard is here. Nettles and Garland. Elaine is here. Bryant is here. I don't think we have a quorum, so we could go ahead and start.
I need to. Okay.
See John's iPad. So is that John Milling or John Seegers?
John Milling.
Okay, Mr. Milling, how are you?
I'm well, Mayor. I hope you're doing good.
Yes, sir. Doing great. I think we're waiting on Mr. Seegers. Is all right. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Thank everyone for coming today on Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2020, for our city council meeting. And if we can get Mr. Milling, Councilman Milling, to say the prayer for us tonight.
Let us pray. Dear Father God, we ask that you give us wisdom and guidance and direction as we do the business of the city tonight. May you bless each one of us with an extra dose of what we need in order to be successful on behalf of those citizens who voted for us. Use this time as a time that we may come together and do what is best for the city, for we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, everybody can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. There you go. That's good, Lisa. Thank you. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Flag.
Is everybody ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Of the United States of America,
America.
To
the republic for which it stands, one nation,
One nation.
God,
To God.
indivisible, with liberty and
Liberty and justice for all.
Well, awkward. I don't know if everybody's got their mics on. By no means trying to be disrespectful. Okay. All right. Number 3, approval of the minutes for the city council meeting from 5/5/20, work session 5/18, 19 and 20. So do we have for the city council meeting on 5/5/20, do we do these separately as far as
They have to be done separately.
okay, good. That's what I thought. Make sure. All right. Do we have a motion for approval for the minutes on 5/5/20 for the city council meeting?
I make a motion that we approve the city council meeting of May 5th, 2020 minutes at that time. I make a motion that we approve those minutes from council meeting, May 5th, 2020.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
I can't get mine to
Do we
work
have
here.
a motion to approve the work sessions for 5/18, 19, and 20 for the work sessions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the work session of 5/18 and 19, 2020.
I think there was 18, 19, and 20.
20, yes.
Oh, Right, it was. I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our work session of May 18th, 19th, and the 20th, 2020.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
All right, good. So that's been approved. All right. Do we have an approval of the meeting agenda for tonight for June 2nd, 2020? Do you have a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the agenda for the meeting being conducted on June 2nd, 2020.
I will second that, Brian Gardner.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, good. That's approved. All right, number 5, report of standing committees. First, we have the Darlington Downtown Revitalization Association with Ms. Lisa Rock.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Due to the governor's executive orders regarding COVID-19 and social distancing requirements, the DDRA has postponed its annual Taste of Darlington, our monthly members breakfast, and the Bringing Downtown Alive concerts. The board has suspended all improvement grants until such time that we can resume our fundraising efforts. And we're working with our radio partners and NASCAR to see if we can reschedule Darlington Family Fest. But on the good news, our annual golf tournament will be played Wednesday, June 24th at Darlington Country Club under the club's new golf pro, Jordan Henson. The State Golf Association social distancing rules have been relaxed to allow for more than one player per golf cart, and this allows our event to continue. Thank you to Carolina Bank, Darlington Raceway, Fitness World Gyms, and Nationwide Insurance for their support of our tournament this year and in years prior. In the meantime, we continue to promote Darlington and its businesses on social media and through our news alert system each week, which is on our website, buildupdarlington.org. And you can sign up for those news alerts to go straight to your phone or straight to your email. Now, since we are unable to have our events downtown, the concert events, we are doing a summer promotion and contest in their place to encourage shoppers to keep their dollars in Darlington. This effort to save our restaurants and eat local will give patrons a chance to win $250 in June, $250 in July, and $250 in August just for eating at locally owned restaurants in town. Simply eat local, get your brochure stamped by the business when you pay, collect 20 stamps, and mail in your brochure to be entered into the drawing. At the end of each month, we will draw for the $250 cash prize. You can enter as many times as you like, and the entries will be rolled over from one month to the next. Brochures are going to be available to print out from Facebook, as well as buildupdarlington.org, as well as at the restaurants themselves. And these should be early next week. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, next we have the Greater Darlington Chamber of Commerce, Nancy Matthews. Thank you for joining us, Nancy.
Thank you for having me, Mayor and Council. Brief report tonight. Our Freedom Fest that was scheduled for July 11th has now been postponed to September 19th due to the regulations of revolving around the coronavirus. So we've solidified that date with vendors, pyrotechnics, and the track. And unless something untoward happens that we don't anticipate, that will be our date. Good news is the Darlington County Takeout and Delivery page on Facebook continues to be very active, even as we open restaurants and start going about our regular lives. And so we're very pleased for restaurant owners to post their menus and their specials on that website. More good news, we will be opening the chamber building one day a week. There's some cleanup to be done due to flooding and, that we have downtown and so forth. We're working on that this week, and we hope to have that building open at least one day a week initially, and then we will gradually get back to more days of the building being open. However, the director is available by phone, and she's managing the business by phone and computer from her home. Is there any comment? Are there questions? I'm happy to take them. I do want to thank the city for the city's support of Freedom Fest, and we are very pleased with the way that's going. We are submitting expenses as they come up. So if we end up having an abbreviated Freedom Fest, perhaps the expenses will not be as great. But thank you all,
Well,
and
thank
stay
you.
safe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nancy.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Lisa, do you have citizens wishing to appear before council? Do you have anything from that point? And I'd like to apologize to the citizens. By no means do I'm sure the council agrees with me that we prefer to have to do it this way by Zoom. We would love to be there where we can see the citizens face to face, but at any time you can still make sure you're making comments in. And I have also invited people to be able to come to my office, but Lisa, do you have anything?
I do have 3 comments that were emailed in. And I would also like to mention that the public hearing on the budget and any fee increases will be held at 6 o'clock on Thursday, June 25th at the Harmon Baldwin Recreation Center, 300 Sanders Street. We will have, there will be checkpoints for your temperature, and there'll be masks and things like that available. And you may go through a screening process, but we are going to have it set up so that people can appear before council and make their voice heard about the budget. I just want to make sure that I got that in there. The first comment that I received was from Miss Gracie Live. She says she is 84 years old, who lives on a fixed income from SSI benefits. The mere fact that the county is proposing to increase the water and sewer rates $9.95, the sanitation fees to $6, fair to the seniors, citizens that are relying on that income. My mom lives at 206 B Avenue since 1991, which at one time was a nice and quiet area. Now she has that sewer in front of the house that smells awful every time it rains, in which she has made several complaints, but you want to go up on the sewer fees. First and B Avenue has potholes from the constant traveling through from Dixie's 18-wheelers. She's not comfortable nor safe sitting on her porch during the days due to the activities that go on every day and night. There's a pandemic going on, and all the city can think of is increasing rates and fees. So what residential areas is the city looking out for? It's definitely not the lower and fixed income. Who's looking out for the senior citizens? Let's get through this pandemic first before you start raising rates and fees. All right, the second email that we received for council was from Miss Gladys Jules. And she says, my open council question below is directly for Council Member John Milling. Will you allow a company other than Davis and Brown and its affiliates to perform all work on the Joe Louis Boulevard lift station? And that was the entire.
And Lisa, I think you responded to that on behalf of all of council. and explain the bid process to her. And so I appreciate your undertaking to do that.
And I don't know if we can count or we can point out certain council members during council sessions, can we? Or can we, as long as they aren't disparaging comments?
They can ask specific questions, but council comment, the citizens' comments are just taken as information, and it's up to y'all if you want to respond or not.
Of course, I understand.
My response to Miss Jules was that the Joe Louis Boulevard lift station work will be bid out per federal regulations once the engineering component is completed to provide contractors with plans to submit bids. The engineering component was bid out several months ago, council awarding the engineering portion to Davis and Brown after a panel of staff and council members scored the submissions in February.
Thank you, Lisa.
Just want to point out also, I was not a part of council who was involved in that scoring.
And Lisa, would you mind emailing me the first citizen's comment since you have it written out?
I'll email them all to you.
Thank you, ma'am. And
the last citizen comment, which I just received this afternoon, is from Miss Janie Lathan. It's quite longer than the others, so excuse me. Mayor Boyd and City Council. Comments, questions to be submitted to the City of Darlington's Mayor and City Council during the June 2nd, 2020 City Council meeting. Number 1, before the Mayor and Council takes any additional actions to increase the fees for water, sewer, and stormwater, please answer the following questions or concerns. A, the City of Darlington, along with the world, is going through a devastating pandemic with over 40 million Americans losing their jobs, including residents in Darlington. Through the CARES Act relief bill, Congress has approved $1.8 trillion in relief for suffering Americans. In addition, numerous corporations and banks are providing debt and payment relief for our citizens. Yet in these dire times, the City of Darlington is suggesting to add new and additional fees in 3 categories of water, sewer, and stormwater services at approximately $20 a month for our citizens. This begs following the questions. Why? What is driving this mayor and council to impose this additional hardship on our citizens now? Why does this have to happen now? Why can't this wait until its citizens recover from the pandemic and are at a place of more economic stability? Based on the current economic crisis, I am requesting that our mayor and council consider withdrawing or substantially delaying further efforts to increase fees in water, sewer, and stormwater services. Please have a heart and understand the struggles of so many of the citizens that voted you in to represent them. This is my dire and humble ask. This would impose a serious hardship on the people you serve and wouldn't sit well with the community. Let's review the numbers. Poverty is an issue for Darlington constituents, especially in the AA community. The poverty rate for the City of Darlington is 21.89%. Darlington citizens consist of approximately 3,389 African Americans, whose poverty rate of 32.02%. Darlington citizens consist of approximately 2,682 whites, whose poverty rate of 7.64%, over 4 times lower than the rate in the African American community that makes up the majority of the population. Darlington citizens represent a large elderly community. The old age dependency ratio is 42.6 and the age dependency ratio is 77.8. Darlington has been significantly affected by COVID-19 compared to other cities in the county. The number of COVID-19 active cases in Darlington County is 80 as of yesterday. 51 of the 80, or 64% of the county's COVID-19 cases are in the City of Darlington. It is very apparent this pandemic has affected Darlington disproportionately. This further supports why pushing to raise fees on our citizens in the midst of this global and deadly public health emergency that affects the poor, elderly, and sick would not be wise, prudent, or fair. In summary, we must know who we are and who elected us to represent us. For the mayor and the at-large council members, please remember you represent all of us and not just the citizens in your ward. The vast majority of the citizens of Darlington is the elderly living on a fixed income or are living below the poverty level. This is why so many of us are standing up and saying now is not to raise these fees. If the city is in such dire financial straits, request every department head to go back and reduce their budget by 10% instead of approving yet another increase to the budget. This action alone would produce more dollars than would be gained from increasing our water, sewer, stormwater fees on the backs of our already compromised citizens. My request is that you do this and look at other options to increasing these fees as well. How many times has the city raised the water and sewer fees in the last 10 years? How many times has the city raised the water and sewer fees in the last 15 years? What is the city's current cash flow? Do the mayor and each of our council members know the balance in each of the city's bank accounts? Do you know how much money is currently in the capital budget? Does the city have a capital budget plan? If so, what is our capital budget plan? What is the current balance in our water and sewer account? Does the city have a water and sewer maintenance and management plan? If so, what is in this plan? Does this plan anticipate and plan for the numerous water and sewer line breaks, sump holes we have seen recently? If not, why not? What stormwater projects are most critical and urgent? What are the repercussions of waiting? Have we prioritized the needs within these three categories? For example, aren't the sanitary sewer issues a higher priority than creating and funding a stormwater department right now? There are so many other questions we should ask and should answer that focus on the qualifications of the persons managing our public works departments, the effectiveness of their management, and the efficiency of their systems and processes. However, my time is limited. Please know that I greatly appreciate your consideration of my comments, questions, and requests. Hence, I'm respectfully requesting a written answer to these questions and that my comments are entered as part of this meeting's minutes, as well as the forthcoming answers. Thank you. Submitted June 2nd, 2020 by Janie Lathan, resident and business owner, City of Darlington. And that is our final citizen comment.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments and time. Thank you for Lisa for reading those. Also, all right. Move to number 7, unfinished business. Public hearing, ordinance 2020-04-106 Blue Street zoning change, GC to R10, general commercial to R10. Is that Lisa?
Yes, sir. On your screen, you'll see the zoning map, and you'll have to tell me if you can see my cursor or not moving.
Yeah.
Okay. That parcel right there is R10, and this is owned by the same person that is building some townhomes. He's purchased this property and wants to continue that townhome development. The Planning Commission recommended it be changed to R10. The neighbor that lives right here did not have an issue with that. And so we are asking for the final approval on that change. We have not received any public comment on this rezoning other than from the property owner right here who lives here, and she did not have an issue with it. She just wanted it to stay residential. She did not want it to be commercial. So this would certainly assist her with that.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we need a motion to approve the public hearing?
You don't have to have a motion to approve.
Motion for that, it's just notice, right? Okay. Any discussion on that? Everybody good with that?
I'm fine with it. Don't we have to have a certain amount of time that we have to stay on this subject line, or am I wrong?
There's not a time limit specifically. It's just depending on how many people or how many members of the public come with comments. The only comments we received was from that neighbor, and she was in favor of it.
Okay. I guess in that case, then I'll motion that we don't have to motion. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to go to B, which is the second reading ordinance of 2020-04-106 Blue Street zoning, general commercial to R10. Need a motion for that?
I assume there'll be no discussion, so I'd like the motion that we approve the second reading ordinance 2020-04-106 Blue Street zoning from general commercial to R10.
I will second that, Mayor.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Milling, aye.
I like that. Gardner, aye.
Nettles, aye.
Elaine, we can't hear you.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Backus, mute.
John Seegers is here with me. His laptop went out, so I'm going to have him sit up here and record his vote.
All right. Ms. Backus?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, aye. Elaine? She still have hers unmuted.
Elaine, you're still muted.
Need a piece of paper. Hold on. There you go, Elaine.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Mr. Seegers?
Aye.
Okay, good. Glad to have you with us. All right, so all passes. All right, so we have a pass for all in favors for second reading of the ordinance 2020-04-106 Blue Street zoning from the general commercials to the R10. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, and we have part C. Okay, Mr. Gardner. All right, we have for part C, the Garden Week proclamation. Howard Garland.
I'll be glad to read that, Mr. Mayor.
I wasn't sure if Rhonda was there with you or not. I thought maybe I saw her come in.
She is. National Garden Week proclamation. Whereas gardeners help nurture Darlington's natural beauty and resources by planting seeds and caring for plants. And whereas gardens can be a source of beauty, fragrance, and food throughout the cultivation of flowers, herbs, and vegetables. And whereas gardening can be a rewarding activity for people of all ages and levels of experience. And whereas gardens help promote a healthy lifestyle and reduce stress while serving as a tangible reminder of the rewards of hard work. Now, therefore, I, Curtis Boyd, Mayor of the City of Darlington, do hereby proclaim June 7th through 13th, 2020 as Garden Week throughout the City of Darlington, and encourage all citizens to recognize our gardeners for their contributions to positively impact our communities and the quality of life for our residents in the City of Darlington.
All right, now I'll definitely sign that in the morning. I agree to that. And we want to thank the Garden Club and the Beautification Board, everybody that goes out and helps to make our town more beautiful. So,
And you will notice one of their projects this week, they have put out flags around the square adjacent to the benches, recognizing National Garden Week as well.
good. All right, wonderful. We thank you for their help. All right, new business. A is first reading ordinance 2020-05 business license collection. Howard?
Mr. Mayor, this is just boilerplate. It is, there's nothing as far as increasing fees. This is just a continuation ordinance letting us to continue to collect the business license collections.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
None.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the first reading ordinance of 2020-05 business license collection?
I'll make a motion that we approve the first reading ordinance 2020-05, the business license collection.
Do we have a second?
I will second that. This is Milling. And Mr. Garland, if you would also, in section 2, it has a date of January 20020, just a typographical, if you'll take care of that before the full reading.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone in favor?
Gardner and I vote aye.
Milling votes aye.
Figures aye.
Nettles, aye.
Reed,
Sheila,
aye.
All right, so everyone in favor, aye. All right, so we have a agreement on passing the first reading ordinance of 2020-05 business license collection. All right, we'll move on to B, which is first reading ordinance 2020-06 tax and its anticipation notice. Howard?
Mr. Mayor, this is just giving the city manager and the court treasurer the authority to seek funding when we run low on cash. We have cash flow issues sometimes in December and January before the bulk of the property taxes come in March and February. So this just gives the authority, again, to the manager and the clerk to go out as needed to local financial institutions and seek bids for a tax anticipation note, which we would repay with property tax money when they come in February and March.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the first reading ordinance of 2020-06 tax anticipation notice?
Mr. Mayor, John Milling, I'll make a motion that we approve the first reading of ordinance 2020-06, the tax anticipation notice.
Gardner, and I will second that reading.
I think it ought to be tax anticipation note instead of notice. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And do we have a second?
Gardner, and I will second that.
All in favor?
Milling,
Reed, yes.
Sheila, yes.
Gardner, yes.
Nettles, yes.
Seegers?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have approval for the first reading ordinance 2020-06 tax anticipation note. That's been approved. All right, part C, first reading ordinance 2020-07 millage rate. All right, Howard?
Mr. Mayor, this does not change any. The millage rate will remain at 128.41. This just allows us to continue to collect that on the property taxes, whether it be real property, real estate, or boats or cars.
Okay. Do we have
It's a
a,
last read here. I make a motion that we approve the first reading ordinance 2020-07 the millage rate.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that. Gardner.
Okay, all in favor?
Seegers, aye.
Milling, aye.
Nettles, aye.
Reed, aye.
Gardner, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Okay, so all in favor or in favor for the first reading ordinance 2020-07 millage rates. Okay, it's been approved. All right, D, first reading ordinance 2020-08 water/sewer rate increase. Okay, Howard?
Mr. Mayor, this would increase water rates by 40% and sewer rates by 60%, an average of $9.55 per month for residential and commercial customers, and that the increase would take effect on August 1st, 2020.
Do we have discussion?
Is this the one that we just got the email from Sheila saying that we couldn't do, that we were out of order in doing the first reading? That we needed to have the public hearing before?
I would refer, I'm sorry, I'd refer to Kevin Etheridge on that.
Okay.
My understanding again is that it would need to happen after the first reading. There needs to be a public hearing, and it would have to happen within 15 days, I believe, and it would have to be in the record, the paper of record.
Okay. So we have already, I mean, we did research it. The question came up. So we're in compliance.
Yes, ma'am. I have in the first reading, as long as we do that after this step.
So the email that the Google, the research that I did and the ordinance that I looked up said we had to have a public hearing before the first reading. I sent you an email of it, but
yeah, and I'm looking at it. I don't see it. Show me where it refers to that, Sheila, because I'm just looking at it. I don't see
where does it say that at?
Ma'am.
Okay, go to when I was reading it.
Section C, I believe.
Yeah. I don't have it right here too.
But that says after the second reading.
Yeah,
no, it said before the first reading. I read it. The orders has been. I got to go back and find it because I read the whole thing and I sent it out to every council member and the mayor. I'm just trying to find it where I read it at.
Sheila or council, if y'all don't mind, right before a meeting, if we email anything, if y'all could please just give me a text to let me know. Just
send you a text.
Yeah, like if it's just right before a meeting like this.
Okay, go to B. Go to B.
Okay.
Upon its introduction, each ordinance shall be put upon its first reading, whereupon the presiding officer shall first open it up for discussion from the public, and thereafter for discussion by the council. After what?
Ma'am, what code of ordinances are you reading from?
Procedures for the introduction and passage of orders and resolutions from the municipal
What is that
association.
from?
I pulled it from the municipal association. I researched it, and that's where I put it. I sent it out to every council member. I tried to send it to Howard like 5 or 6 times, but it kept bouncing back from his email. I couldn't get it to go to Howard email.
And I don't know if this is right, but if you go up to the top,
so I'm asking.
If you go up to the top of the email and click on the section 22-22, it takes you to Nebraska. Now, I don't know if it's just Google seeing something and making it a link or if it was part of the article. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm not saying. That's why I'm asking questions. That's what I'm trying to get a clear understanding.
Before we go any further.
That's what I'm trying to get. That's why I sent it out to everybody and I was asking questions.
Traditionally, we have had first reading so that information is passed and approved as first reading so that it can be put on the table for discussion. Then a public hearing has to be held before a final vote. When it's a fee increase, you have to have notification in the paper 15 days before in the paper of record, which will appear in the news and press on coming Wednesday. Not tomorrow Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And then you have the second and final reading when it's a municipality. And we will be doing that on Monday, 9th. This is the procedure we followed for every budget and every fee increase that I've seen in the 6 or 7 years I've been with the city, as well as 12 years I have been covering media.
So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking the question. Are we doing compliance? Are we doing it right? That's what I'm asking.
And I hate to slow everybody down, but I'm
not saying we're right or wrong.
I've never seen this before, this thing that was sent to me. So I'm trying to look it up and then look at the municipal association. I hate to slow everybody down, but I'm fairly certain that it's 15 days notice. And then you got to put it in the record, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys, in the paper which would be the news and press, and then you can have the second reading after you've had this
So,
public hearing.
if that's what it is, then let's proceed on. No problem.
Okay.
I mean, no point in holding it up.
And I'll still be
Let's proceed on.
looking. If I see something during this, I'll let you know. But I'm fairly certain that's correct.
Okay, no problem. Just asking.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have any more discussions? All right, do we have a motion for the first reading ordinance 2020-08 for water/sewer rate increase?
I make a motion that we have first reading on the water sewer increase 2020-08.
Mayor, this is Howard Nettles. I'll second that motion.
All in favor? No, by saying aye.
Seeger's aye.
Gardner, aye.
Nettles, aye.
Milling, aye.
Sheila, nay.
I'm struggling. I have received, I know this is not the time, but I do need to make this statement. I have received so many calls asking me not to support it. So just in view, I know it's needed. I want to support it, but in view of this, I am going to vote nay.
And so we have 4, but I don't want to let it publicly be known that I know that we never want to raise anything, but to get things done, board votes yes. Aye. All right. So we have.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
This is John Milling. I would
Yes, sir.
add between now and when we have the public hearing that if the city administration could get us together some figures on how things might be affected if we postponed the rate increase from August the 1st to January the 1st, or if we implemented it in stages so that we implemented only half of it in August and the other half in January to see how it would work. I know we just are, unfortunately, we are elected members of council at a point in time where everything's wearing out and nobody is trying to take advantage of anybody, but in order to provide those services that we have got to provide, we've got to take a look at how we're going to fund them. And if we can delay it and do it in stages so that we do one at one point in time and one at the other, I would appreciate that information.
I would second that. I completely agree.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can. The work sessions made it out. My separate conversations with Howard Garland today make it that we're in a tough situation right now, but if there's any way we could stage this and give the community 6 months or 3 months or anything, and it's financially feasible, I want to see if it's possible.
All right. I appreciate that, Councilman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, E, first reading ordinance 2020-09 sanitation fee increase.
Mr. Mayor, this is, would increase the sanitation fee from $22.50 per month to $28.50 per month, $6 per household or business. It would take effect August 1st, 2020.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm definitely in favor of that.
Oh, boy is right.
I make a motion that we approve the first reading ordinance of 2020-09, the sanitation fee increase.
we have a second?
I hate raising fees, but unfortunately, I need to second this.
I got to get that stuff up off the street.
We have a first and a second read motion. Do we have all in favor? Say aye.
Seeger's aye.
Gardner, aye.
Milling,
Aye.
Nettles, aye.
Sheila?
Nay.
All right. Boyd, aye. All right.
Mayor?
Yes?
And I apologize, just to kind of go back to what we discussed a minute ago, I think I found the pertinent ordinance. It says, after the introduction of an ordinance, any member of the council or any citizen of the city interested therein may request a public hearing, which may be held at any time designated by the council prior to final adoption.
Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all.
All right, so we have a pass with one nay. First reading ordinance 2020-09 sanitation fee increase. All right, F is first reading ordinance 2020-10 stormwater fee increase.
Mr. Mayor, we propose to increase the stormwater fee $2.50 per month for residential customers, and commercial stormwater rates would be based on square feet of impervious surface with a minimum of $25 per business. The fee would take effect August 1st, 2020.
So on a commercial facility, it would be determined on the square footage of the property.
It would be based on the amount of impervious surface that they have. So a large business has a large parking lot, it's going to get charged more than a small building that doesn't have much of a sidewalk or parking.
Is it based on the parking lot as the impervious surface, or do they include the building as the impervious surface as well?
I'm going to defer to Alex Gandy on that.
It should include the building and the parking lot. I mean, you look at a place like Walmart and you look at the size of their building and you look at the size of their parking lot. I mean, so that's the way we based it. And in doing our research, that's how, the places around here are basing it as well.
Okay, well, let's just say I have 1,000 square foot property. What's my rate going to be after this tax?
1,000 square feet.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be your minimum rate is for 2,500 square feet would be one unit. So it'd be
Let's do 5,000 then. Whatever number get. I just want to know what you're multiplying by per square foot.
For 5,000 is going to be, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it's going to be $25 or so plus the $3.50 per every 1,000 thereafter. So
it's $3.50 per 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, I believe that's
2,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
$3.50 per 1,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, with our silence, I guess I can motion.
That doesn't sound right. So if Walmart's 125,000 square foot facility.
Yes, theirs, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Now theirs is going to be expensive. But
$437,000.
How much?
That's $437,500.
No, it's not that much.
Well, times 350.
I don't have the numbers right in front of me for each individual business. We went through and figured it up. And if you want that, we can get it to you. I don't have that spreadsheet in front of me. to know exactly what each business was gonna cost.
Right.
But, you know, we can get that to you. It's not near that much. I mean,
What?
it's a lot more than $6 a month.
It's first reading, so but we need
Yeah,
that
if you could get
information.
that to us, would be good.
Yeah, we
But
get it.
you said it's 125,000 square feet, Mayor?
I think approximately, I think that the building that size is around, my understanding is 125,000 square foot is the building. That's not counting the property too.
Yeah.
Walmart, what I'm being told, Walmart will be $906.41 a month. That's Sheila getting it off the spreadsheet that we did.
Alex, we definitely need to get those numbers for sure because that math is not working on my calculator. So I just like to know how we're getting it, how we're configuring that.
Like I said,
Sorry.
I can get you the whole spreadsheet. You can see what every business will be in the city.
Thank you, Alex.
Very good. All right. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'm getting like $437.50. Well,
And that's what I got as well.
that ain't even out the 2,500 square feet.
But
So
the total impervious surface for Walmart, from what we calculated on parking lot, building and everything, is 647,436 square feet.
Okay.
Good.
So the 125,000 is probably just the building, not including the parking lot.
Okay.
Okay. So if it's all right, I'll motion that we approve first reading ordinance 2020-10 stormwater fee increase.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Who was that?
Seegers.
Okay, all in favor?
Seegers, aye.
Gardner, aye.
Milling, aye.
Aye.
Reed, aye.
Sheila, nay.
Okay. Boyd, aye. All in favor, but one nay.
Alex,
So-
may I ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
With the stormwater fee, the anticipated revenues that we were gonna have from this total fee, what we had previously and the increase, how much reserves or how much revenue will we have left over once you subtract out our bond and other expenses?
From what we're calculating right now, if everything goes through, we would have roughly $52,000 a year to put into stormwater reserve.
And that's after all of our expenses, employees, bond and all that.
Bond and everything, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, so we have a pass on the first reading ordinance 2020-10 stormwater fee increase. All right, next G, first reading ordinance 2020-11-2020-2021 budget approval. I have to state that Elaine, I think for the RTA, you have to be removed from that, and I have to be removed from anything to do with the budget for the Fitness World gyms.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that everyone vote on the 2020-2021 budget minus the Fitness World Gym and minus PDRTA. So everyone could vote on that. And then depending on how you want to go, then you would vote on RTA first with Ms. Reed abstaining, and then vote on the Fitness World with Mr. Boyd abstaining.
So, Mr. Gardner, if go ahead.
Go ahead. Go, Sheila.
So, Mr. Gardner, so if we're gonna vote on the Fitness World Gym, are we gonna vote on whether we're gonna put it out for bid and let everybody bid and then go from there? Or are we just voting on whether we're gonna?
Well, why don't we take just the 2020-2021 motion with everything else first, then RTA, and then you can bring up about Fitness World. Let's handle it like that.
Okay.
I'd like the motion that we approve the first reading ordinance 2020-11-2020-2021 budget approval minus the Fitness World employee gym membership contract and minus the PDRTA. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. It's PDRTA funding.
No.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second. Reed, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Milling says aye.
Gardner is aye with the stipulation that Howard gets us that information that John Millen requested earlier.
Figures aye.
Sheila, aye.
Aye.
Reed, aye.
Boyd, aye. Okay. Do we have any discussion on with the budget for the PDRTA? Okay, do we have a motion to pass the first reading of the ordinance 2020-11-2020-2021 budget approval for the PDRTA?
I'd like to motion that we approve the first reading ordinance 2020-11-2020-2021 budget approval for the PDRTA funding.
Figures second.
Okay, all in favor?
Figures aye.
Gardner, aye.
Milling aye.
Sheila, aye.
Reynolds, aye.
Boyd, aye.
Sheila was not entitled to vote on that one, was she?
No, it was Elaine.
You
I'm
got your
sorry.
people mixed up.
It was Elaine. Elaine was quiet.
All right.
You got to forgive my hearing. It doesn't work all the time.
All right. Okay.
Does, but we won't hold it against you.
All right. Do we have a discussion for the first reading ordinance of the 20-11-2020-2021 budget approval with the Fitness World gyms, and I will abstain from that.
So my question is, should we put this out for bid? And not saying that Curtis don't have the right to bid. Nobody's saying that. I'm just questioning. I think it should go out for bid and then see what we get back and see where we stand.
If y'all want to do that, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm. My question just purely was that, is that according to the ethics things, I just assumed that members of council could not enter into any financial contract.
And
Like-
the ordinance on that, Elaine, is 5/21/30. And since we're under 30,000 residents, there can be a process by you put it out for public bids. And if at that point Curtis's was still the bid that won, he would have to get unanimous consent of council.
So, okay, so this ethics thing is just based on the population. The number
Ma'am?
of people.
Well, if it's
based-
over 30,000 people, then there's a different process. But if it's under 30,000, which we are, then there's that's the process.
Oh. Okay. You know what? It just was a blanket thing to me when I was in that. I came out thinking that as a member of council, I could not enter in any kind of contract with any kind of where it would have a financial a benefit to me.
Well,
I just thought that-
it is
that's all
often frowned upon, but there's two things here. It was, I think, entered into prior to Curtis becoming mayor, and there is this process by which an individual can have contracts with the city, even if he's on council or a mayor, as long as it goes through this process of putting out public bids And if at that point it's still the lowest bid and it wins, then it has to get unanimous consent of city council. Every person on city council has to vote yay on it.
All right, okay.
So based on the law, then Mr. Gardner has to put it out for public bid.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know what I have to do with it.
Oh, no.
Huh?
She was saying Garland. I don't think she meant Garland. Another one getting them mixed up.
I said,
Now,
Garland.
Yeah.
We'll put it out there.
Kevin, is it my understanding that if the contract is in place before he actually is a public official with the city of Darlington, then we have the option to honor it? What's the word?
You can. I mean, you can do that. Yes, but
it's our
you
option.
can also put it out for public bids if you would like. And again, if it's the lowest bid and you decide to go along with it, then at that point it would have to be approved by every member of council.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And this would be a contract to provide gyms availability for.
Yes, sir. Gym memberships to city employees.
And the only other option is the YMCA. Is anybody else who would have a gym that would be large enough to handle city employees?
Not in Darlington.
Do y'all know the prices between the two bids and what year that bid was taken?
I do not.
It was either 2008 or 2009. Ms. Hines, when she was councilwoman, pushed to have that done. And Curtis was the low bidder by $50,000 or so, or might have been more.
Curtis, do you mind publicly saying how much your bid was?
The city pays me 49.
I don't
have
know.
no problem. I
I'm
have no
sorry.
problem. It's public record. I don't care.
Yeah, Mayor, I'm not sure if you're allowed to actually talk in this process. You're not supposed to say anything, so I'm
Okay,
sorry.
you asked me. I didn't know.
I did. It was my fault, and I apologize.
Yeah. He just needs to
I don't know if
abstain.
I'm not supposed to vote on it, but I don't know if I can talk on it or not.
You can't
I think
even
it's
talk.
best that you abstain from every
Okay.
aspect of this, Mayor.
Right.
And I think that's public record, though, Bryant. I think it'd be easy. I don't know how easy, but I think it'd be something you could find.
I noticed that I think I saw our treasurer on here. Does anyone have this answer besides Curtis, since he can't talk? Where's our treasurer? I thought she's here.
Hey, I've been told there's another health club in Darlington, that there's a Darlington Health Club run by Mike Gainey, so we could solicit a bid from him also if you wanted to go that route.
Do we have how much his contract was?
The original contract was $4,000. It was increased by $950 when a request was made to include retirees and their families several years ago.
Okay. So the other bid was $54,000.
I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to look it up.
Okay. I mean, at $4,000, how many employees do we have?
Right now, I believe we have 89 full-time, but it also included, I believe, part-timers, crossing guards, and their families, children, spouses. So it's probably anywhere from 150 to 200 that could benefit.
So I'm gonna say 175 people. Is that a fair number?
Yes, yes.
So you're talking 175 that could benefit, but how many actually use it?
We'd have to ask to get a rundown for that. I don't know that.
I mean, I think that would be a finance question of what we want to keep using if it's a question of how many people use it, but total employees that it covers is 175, he's saying. $22 a month, a person. I don't care either route. The contract was entered in before he was publicly announcing his run for mayor. It looks like by about 6 or so years, at least, or 6 or I believe that's right. So I've got no problem continuing this contract if he honors the rate. I assume if the rate was to go up, that maybe then we would need to bid it out in fairness to the public. But as of right now, it seems to be a a low rate per person. But if council's interest is to bid it out, I'll support whatever y'all's majority's interest is.
Just
Well,
for
Mr. Gardner, I have,
informational purposes, and I think John Seegers uses the YMCA as well. I've just got my own membership as a single individual, and it is either $36 or $38 a month for that single membership. And John Seegers may be able to tell us what it is for a family membership.
Family membership now is about $57 a month.
well, also you have to consider capacity. I mean, what
Yeah,
other gym in town can have the capacity, even if there's 50% of those employees who want to go with their families or whatever, no one else has capacity to accommodate that, in my opinion.
but if
Not
we're
locally.
looking at price, it sounds like it's at least $14 less expensive for the
Mr.
city
Milling, Mr. Milling,
for what I'm paying.
Mr. Milling, Brian
Yes.
Gardner's numbers were miscalculated. That price that is per year. Not per
Well,
month.
I'm going to make a motion to enter into a contract with Fitness World Gym to provide gym memberships for the employees of Darlington, city of Darlington.
And I'll second that. And I do apologize, Curtis. You are definitely correct. It was for the year, $22. Thank you. And I'll second that.
So do y'all realize, well, you got a motion on the floor. Go ahead.
If you have discussion, I'll be happy to let you have it, Councilwoman.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, based on what the lawyer just said, in order for this to be approved and accepted, it takes a unanimous vote.
That's after a bid, and I don't think we've done a bid, isn't
I'm
this?
trying to get Kevin. What happened to Kevin?
I'm right here.
So if we vote on this now, does it take a unanimous vote to pass this?
If you put it out for public bids,
Uh-huh.
then it does take a unanimous.
That's not the question.
not
I'm
just-
sorry to interrupt. That is not the question. The question is,
Hold on. But if not, you're just extending a contract and it would not require that.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, because I think our procurement laws, I think we're supposed to put everything out for bid. We're not supposed to just continuously give businesses privileges constantly without giving other businesses the opportunity to bid. I mean, our ordinance and our procurement require us to put contracts out for bid, not just give them to people just because.
correct me if I'm wrong, Howard Garland, but if a contract is less than $5,000, don't you have the authority to spend 5,000 or less? Anything over 5,000, you then have to get our authority.
That's, the ordinance says that, yes, it does.
Anything over
Did it-
5,000, you also have to get a bidding, but anything under 5,000, you do not have to get a bid for. Is that correct?
It depends, but with this being a new situation here, I'm not sure about the legality of it. Since
Take
it's a
Curtis,
pro-
take the mayor's position and this gym out the equation.
That's correct. That's correct.
My question is, if it's less than $5,000, you could spend it without a bid process. If it's above 5,000, we have to bid it out.
That's correct.
But this is a different situation. That's what we're trying to get a clear understanding.
I understand that. I'm just trying to make sure I have a clear understanding before I vote.
I mean, I'm not singling nobody out. I'm just trying to be correct and do it correctly.
I
That's my
understand.
point.
And I
And
please,
be legal.
I hope you understand. I'm not trying to
I'm trying to do.
debate you or your points. I'm just trying to clarify the situation for us all.
And I don't want us to appear that we're ignoring what is thought of. You know, if
Of
it
course.
if it is something that Howard would do, would it have to be a part of this budget?
Technically, Howard could sign this all on his own, but this is part of the budget. And I guess
You could make a motion to extend the contract or not this evening if that's something, how y'all wanted to go about it.
is there any more discussion? If there's no more discussion, I'd like to call a point of order and ask for a vote. I think it's been first and seconded. Who was the second? I believe I did the first motion.
I think I made the motion and you seconded it, Brian.
Okay. Well then, if we could please.
And the motion is what?
To continue the contract with Fitness World gyms for memberships for the city employees of the city of Darlington, South Carolina.
So my question is, before it goes on, I just want to put this on record. So you guys are saying that you prefer not to put it out for bid to allow other businesses in Darlington to have an opportunity to bid on this. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that under the circumstance, with there being nobody other than Mr. Boyd and the YMCA, and we know that based upon rates I pay and the rates that Mr. Boyd charges, that his rates are less. So I am comfortable with continuing the contract that he has.
But I thought, didn't I hear Howard say there was another?
Not because he's the mayor of the city of Darlington, but because he is able to provide the service at a lesser price for the employees of the city of Darlington, and thus the city gets the better deal.
So didn't Howard just say there was another gym in Darlington as well? I'm just getting the understanding here. So we're assuming we know what the YMCA is going to say, and we're assuming we know what the other gym is going to say. So that's what we're doing.
What other gyms are there that you're proposing?
I'm not proposing any gyms. I'm just asking what gyms do we have.
What other gyms are there that you feel like are not having an opportunity?
Howard said there was another gym in Darlington.
Mike Anderson has a Darlington Health Club, but it's located physically in the county. It's not within the city limits. I'm sorry, Mike Gainey. Mike Gainey, Darlington Health Club is in the county, not the city.
So
I've just had a couple of members, and I apologize, Mike Gainey, but I just had a couple of members who said that it's not big enough to take care of all the employees. I don't know if that's true. I've never been in there, but I trust this person.
Well, that was my point too. Mr. Gardner was saying that they don't have the capacity.
Well, I don't think all the members, all the employees going to the gym at the same time.
Same time.
They all don't go the same time. That don't even make sense what you just said. All of
Mr. Speakers, as Mayor Pro Tem, you are the presiding officer, and I call for a vote.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second that we extend the current contract that Fitness World has with the city. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Milling, aye.
Gardner, aye.
Nettles, aye.
Reed, nay. I want y'all to say it.
Sheila, nay.
Seegers, aye. I think the motion carries.
All right, thank you. Am I allowed to say anything now or not?
Depends on how nice you are, Mayor.
Can I be specific about what it, so the public knows what the deal is?
Kevin,
Mayor, you have a contract. I don't think there's any prohibition from your making a statement that you consider to be appropriate.
You're right. But just, I think most of it's been touched on, Mayor, but if you feel a statement's needed.
Well, I would like to give the numbers. There's approximately 200 people that have availability. There's 193 people that have access to the gym, as everybody also has, which comes out to around $2 or so a month. There are 68 people right this moment that have been actively using the gym. So if you just calculate those 68 people, Fitness World Gyms is charging $6 a month per person to use the gym, any location. So I just want to make sure that also that this has been put in place for years, that it's not something that I did just recently, to always try to help the city employees. So again, just wanted to clarify that. Okay. All right. First reading ordinance of 2020-12 bulky refuse fine.
Wow.
Mr. Mayor, I can take this. This is something that was covered at the previous council meeting and some of the work sessions. The bulky refuse section 70-2 would read as follows. The city will not pick up appliances such as, but not limited to, refrigerators, ranges, water heaters, freezers, dishwashers, tracks, compactors, washers, dryers, air conditioners, and commercial large appliances. The city will not pick up furniture or any household items, all of which must be disposed of by the owner, occupant, contractor, or vendor. In addition, section 70-10, the city inspector is authorized to write citations for those violating this ordinance. Each offense will be punishable with a $100 fine.
Any discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the first reading ordinance of 2020-12 bulky refuse fine?
Figure second.
No. I guess I'll
We need a
motion. Yeah, I'll motion for the first reading. Ordinance 2020-12 bulky refuse fine.
Oh, boy. It's already been,
Second.
I seconded.
Thanks, Seegers. I think Seegers has seconded.
Okay.
All in favor?
Nuttall's
Figure
aye.
aye.
I read.
Sheila,
Milling,
aye.
Boyd, aye.
Aye.
So all in favor for first reading ordinance 2020-12 bulky refuse fine. All right, aye. First reading ordinance 2020-13 COVID-19 emergency ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, this gives the council the authority to hold the Zoom meetings over the internet for another 60 days. Given the amount of cases we've had in our zip code, council, our staff recommends that we approve this in case we need it.
I agree.
Elaine, you make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the first reading ordinance 2020-13 for the COVID-19 emergency ordinance.
Milling will second.
I guess I'm
All in favor?
Gardner, aye.
Figure
Milling,
aye.
aye.
Read.
Sheila, aye.
Well, one second. All right, sorry, that's something I do. All right, so we have all in favor of the first ordinance, 2020-13 COVID-19 emergency ordinance. All right, J, farming agreement with Franklin Gleason Ball Fields property. Any discussion? Any questions on that?
No.
I'd like the motion that we approve the farming agreement with Frank Gleason for the ball fields property.
Read second.
All in favor?
Gardner, aye.
Figures aye.
Read. Aye.
Milling,
Sheila,
aye.
aye.
Nuttall's aye.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, for the record, let's show that any monies that are received from Mr. Gleason will go into the hospitality tax collections account.
so I'd like to note that the price that he gave us is for a year, but he's only getting it for the last half of the year. So that was very nice of him also, I think.
And Mr. Mayor, I think we had been previously advised that he had been renting the farmland from Mr. Curvin prior to the
Correct.
city's purchase.
Correct. And all the other farmers I talked to said you typically leave it with the same farmer. So, all right. So we had discussed it with other people. All right. So we have a passing for the farming agreement, Franklin Gleason, Ball Fields property. All right. K, portable storage purchase. Portable stage purchase for me. Donnie and Dwayne Weatherford have a portable stage that they presented as it opens up like the one that we've been borrowing and renting, I think, from the city of Hartsville. It's a little bit older one, but everything works well on it. It can be made into a very nice looking stage, very presentable stage for the city to be able to use. Just wanted to bring that forth. If we're interested in using that to save money from having to rent one over the years, or also being able to actually rent it out if you wanted to take it, rent it out to make additional money off of it. They're asking $20,000 for it. Just brought it to the table for discussion.
Where would the $20,000 come from?
Howard.
That would come from the hospitality collections account.
Lisa, what do we normally pay for the rental? And how many times a year do we normally use it?
Well, currently, with COVID-19, we haven't been able to use it, but
Yeah, typically.
we would certainly love to use it for more events. It typically costs us, including insurance, around $1,100 to $1,500 for one event, for one night. If you use it longer, it costs more. So, $1,500 a pop divided by 20,000, you'll make that up.
And how many times we use it on average, on a good year or average year?
Well, if you use 1,500, that'd be 13 or 14 times. That's at least once a month. You figure Sweet Potato Festival, the regular events.
How many times have we been using this? Well, that's what he's asking, is what I was asking. I mean, how many times have you normally rented it in a year? The one from Hartsville when you were renting? I know if we had one, we could use it more.
We have not used the one in Hartsville as much as we would like because of the cost. The Sweet Potato Festival doesn't always use it. They have their own, the Pilot Club has a stage, and we've been using that for the concerts downtown and for some other things, but it's certainly not the same kind of size or usefulness as the kind of stage that you're discussing.
The one they have opens up just like Hartsville's. It opens up hydraulically.
Certainly that kind of stage is a requirement for some bands, especially if you're trying to get somebody that's not just a local person, but if you're trying to get some kind of regional act, so Freedom Fest or any kind of events downtown. We could also use the current stage that we have in addition to this and make the events bigger by having 2 stages of activity. Certainly an improvement.
Guys, I don't want to come across as harsh, but I don't think that's, and I know it's a different bucket of money and everything, but right now when we're talking about increasing fees and some different rates, I'm really not comfortable purchasing that. I mean, if we're using over time, I understand, but maybe we can try to look for some private funding or something like that for it. And I'll be happy to spearhead some of that, but I just can't go for spending that kind of money right now when we're in the situation that we're in. Sorry, just my opinion.
Could we check with the Weatherfords while we're considering what's going on and see what their cost would be to let us lease it as we need it?
Sure.
Can we also get the cost of a new one?
Sure.
cost of a new one has, previously, we've investigated this, and it was something like $80,000 or $90,000.
Mhm.
Not knowing how many events we can host this year, I'm a little bit like Howard Nettles, spending the money when we don't know that we can use it.
Well, I'm real, well, no comment.
I think we need to try to have one at some point.
Got
I agree with you, Mr. Millen. I agree with you, Mr. Nettles. These are one of the things that, the only reason I brought it up, because I've looked for them numbers of times, and it's rare and far and few between to find one that of this size that opens up that way and functions the same way as the one in Hartsville does for that kind of price. But, and again, I agree, we've got a lot of things to go on, and
Right.
but just wanted to, while I was here, wanted to present it. Right beside me.
I understand. Maybe we can ask him if he'll give us 90 days or 180 days. Tell him to store it for us.
I think we just need to table this one.
Okay. All right, no problem. Just wanted to present it.
Lisa, please get that other information to us if you can.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, outside dining, public square, Councilman Brian Gardner.
I'm gonna pass this over to Rhonda if she's still at your office, Howard.
Yes, she is. You were just
She's
second.
way more eloquent than I am.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm really just here tonight to talk about parklets and an opportunity to place them downtown. Parklet typically takes up 2 parking spaces. It allows additional seating that can be used by restaurants, folks bringing, doing their takeout, being able to sit outside and still keep the 3 to 4 foot walkway between the restaurant and where the parklet is. It's basically a raised platform that is in the street. These are temporary structures, so they can be moved. It may be in 6 months. You may want to move them to a different area to take advantage of, let's say, a new restaurant opening up, or if there's an event down on Pearl Street where you want more dining down in the Pearl Street area. And I had presented, it was a 2-sheet information page. I don't know if you've received that.
Lisa, can you pull that up on the screen?
I don't have that available at this moment.
I thought we got that to you yesterday.
No, I didn't even get that this was on the agenda tonight.
All righty. Well, it was in our council packet. Well, council, I believe that I had emailed y'all or text messaged y'all pictures of what she's described. The email that she sent has essentially the same diagram of that stuff. But these are just to give us some more outdoor seating with the COVID stuff going on. People kind of wanting to get out, but also maybe be fearful of getting in the restaurants. And this would just be another option to bring people out and get the foot traffic more. Email that she sent, I'm getting a reverberation now. So anyways, it's something that we might could kind of increase the foot traffic. And it's I think a beautiful thing for our downtown square. I know a couple different ones of us have ideas of limiting the car traffic and expanding the sidewalks. This is just a cheaper entry level investment for the community that will give us that same effect. But it also can be temporary and be moved around, as Ms. Rhonda had suggested.
So it's like a portable setup, a portable what? I mean, and it's on the sidewalks?
No, it's where your parking is. If you
Okay.
were to take 2 parking places and build a portable, like a little deck, let's call it.
Okay.
The deck would be at the same level as the sidewalk. And on that little portable deck, you would be able to put tables and chairs and potted plants to act as a barrier between the traffic, the road traffic, and then, you know, the folks that would be sitting in this area. And trying to keep social distancing in mind as people are walking up and down the sidewalks, it's not going to block that sidewalk area. In other cities around the nation that have done this, they've found that they've had a 30% increase in people using those particular, you know, using those areas, those sidewalks. The surrounding businesses have seen up to a 20% increase in, you know, people coming into their shops and being in that area. It just makes it more inviting. And rather to close down an entire street at this time, as Mr. Gardner had mentioned, it makes more sense to try it out, see how it works, and see if this is effective for future renovations to the downtown area.
It's literally just a mini stage that's portable that makes the trip hazard of walking off the sidewalk into the parking space disappear. So when you walk off that sidewalk, you're walking on level ground. I believe that the stage is even on a on an angle, so that the dip that you have from the stormwater as well is taken out. So it's just flat extension.
I was just thinking about if it happened at the Mexican restaurant right there on the corner, would that be a hazard?
I think with that
You know-
tree right there and the concrete barrier around the tree, that would be actually a great location because it's a little bit more safer. But if you also look on the stuff that me and Ron had emailed you, you'll see that they have barriers on both ends of it, also for the safety of the individuals. If you also look on the diagram, you'll notice that they also have those planters that go the whole length of the property that will be the parklets as well, for the safety reason as well, so that the individuals have a barrier between them and the cars.
So what you're proposing that the city buy these to put out there, and then they would just be there for a week or 2 weeks and then move to another location or stay at that location? Or?
I mean, from the conversation, my initial thought is we do a joint investment, but funding is very tight for everyone right now. And with this being something that's on our public square, I think it's something that the city should invest in. And the reason being is we want everything to maintain an aesthetic. So the beauty of our downtown square is uniform. So my personal feelings is that we should invest in these ourselves and allow it to be open to the public and restaurants. If we're putting it out in front of the restaurants, I think they would need to agree to keep it clean if their patrons are using it. But if we own it ourselves, we can maintain the look of it, and that will allow it to be uniform throughout the whole community. I don't think they should be temporary unless they're just not used. I think this is something that we keep out long term. Now, if we have another event, maybe we'll want to move it at that point. But I think that it's theoretically possible we could put one around Fahrenheit for their use, one at the Mexican restaurant, and if Gin and the other restaurant that's beside that on Pearl Street would like one, I think that would be a fair investment for us as well.
So my question is, let's say you put 3 around the square, that would take up 6 parking spots. Would it be permanent? I know they're not permanent, but you're saying basically leave them there permanently. Would it cause an issue with losing parking spots? Or I know I agree with you. I think it would look wonderful, but just as a question.
Yeah, I agree with you. You are going to sacrifice a couple parking places for each one of these if we install one at the 2 different locations on the square. So you would lose those parking spaces, and it would be permanently. But I think that just is another reason that we can work on our relationship with the county truly ask for them to not, for their employees, not park around the square, and you would save many more parking spaces than what we're going to take up. If we were to maybe enforce that a little more, the minutes on the parking, your 15-minute or 2-hour areas, and enforce it, you also might open up some more spaces from what some of the business complaints have been to me in the past.
What's the cost on these things, on the spots?
I don't have a company cost. I mean, this is something I suggest we go get 3 or 4 bids. But from what I saw, it was an estimation of $8,000 per parklet.
Brian, how do they work with the water and everything? That would just kind of flow under it or around it or something, so it doesn't have any problem there, right?
The
Yeah,
water flows under it.
Okay.
It includes a table also, or is it just the deck, or you put a table on it?
You please do not hold me to any numbers. I assume that 8,000 figure does not include the tables. So you would have to purchase tables and flowers and stuff for the surrounding, I guess. I don't know what they're called, structures. What's council's opinions?
I like it. So,
Is it something that, if you build it out of that composite wood to where it would look, I mean, I'm trying to visualize in my head because I don't have the text in front of me, but I'm assuming it's like a deck, correct?
Yeah, I assume it's like a deck. That's right.
Is it not where we could have someone professionally build it in that spot to where it's still pick it up and move it, basically build a table and everything right there stationary to where it would be permanent almost, but yet still movable?
I'm not a carpenter, so I couldn't, because there's the angle from the stormwater, but any carpenter, I'm sure in theory could do it. There just might be a liability that they would then absorb, making it themselves, but I'm not a lawyer either.
Perhaps we can take a look, because we have departments in the city that do various types of maintenance and construction, and see what it would cost for this to be done by some of our city department people, and see whether they feel capable in doing it and what they think it would cost to get a couple of these things built. People like Alex Gainey, I'm assuming, have seen the drawings. So since he is a contractor and with my former codes enforcement officer, he may have some opinions.
Brian, are there any places kind of close by within driving distance that has some of these that we could look at? I'm willing to take a drive and see how they look.
Yeah,
I think I like the idea.
I think I sent y'all the email. If I didn't, I'll make sure I do it when we get done with council. But I believe I sent y'all an email with Charlotte, North Carolina, and what they've done. They have a whole form online that you can read. So if you're a business owner who wants to add it in your area, or a neighborhood that wants to add one, they've got all kind of varieties and stipulations as far as how you can implement it for the city. But I also would assume, my sister says they're all over the place in Charlotte. So you could go there. I'll be happy to get you a restaurant so you can see a street view maybe.
Yeah, because I just check my emails. I'm not seeing anything from you, so I don't know.
I'm not seeing either.
I'm not sure.
If you remember the other night, whenever I sent this same idea, I sent it all by text.
It was in a text then?
That's right, to the group.
Okay, I'm looking at emails. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I misspoke. It was me that said that.
No problem.
Reed, do you remember? I remember you commented on it. I'm trying to look up.
mm-hmm.
Just resend it to us. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
But it would look good.
But I think a carpenter could do it out of that composite wood. I think a carpenter could do it out of the composite wood and build you a really nice, with planters and all on it. I don't know if it'd be cheaper or less, but
I would be fine with a carpenter building the floor. I would want to ask that we purchase cement planters or something that's a little more substantial, so that if a car was to jump the first barrier, that once they hit the actual planters, it's a little bit more substantial to maybe absorb it as a secondary safety measure. But besides that, I'm fine with that.
You may be able to look at the existing planters that you already have on the square that are acting as protection to the sidewalk from cars coming up. Those may be able to be moved out onto this platform area as well. So just food for thought there.
Okay. All right, very good. I think it's a great idea. So we'll go ahead and look at that. See if
So
we
I
can
guess
move-
we'll empower Alex Gainey to see if he can feasibly build it.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to look at it and see. I mean, I've never seen one, but I'd be more than happy to look at it, look at some plans or something. I'm sure that with 20 years experience, we can figure out a way to build it. I'd have to look at it and
Go,
see
Alex.
what we can do, if that's what y'all
Yeah.
decide to do.
Brian, if you'll resend it and make sure we have it, Alex and I just text it. We'll ride somewhere and look at them together and see what we can do.
Yeah.
And if you just Google parklets, PARKLET on your phone, you'll see all sorts of, and click on images on the internet, you'll see all sorts of different varieties and information on there regarding, construction as well, Alex.
And if you just add the word Charlotte, it'll come up to show you what their requirements are from the city's perspective.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Thank you for your time.
All right, very good. I think it's a great idea. All right. Receive information from the department head reports. We have information. Is there any discussion on those or questions for the department heads? Okay, no discussion, no questions. All right. Thank you, everyone. Any council comments?
Yeah, we have the park on Chalmers Street that we grass. The grass is getting really high over there. If we could get somebody in our recs or our street department, I'm not sure whose responsibility that park is, to get that grass covered, cut, and just general notice grass is growing quick with all this rain. So let's just make sure we keep ahead of it.
I'll get with Howard and see if he wants us to do it or for Parks and Recreation is gonna do it. We'll get it taken care of one way or the other.
Alex, you're talking about the
And
Alex,
Yes, ma'am.
along that same area that Brian is talking about, there is that trailer there. Is it any way the city can move that? It's such an eyesore. And see, we were the ones, when I'm saying we, meaning the city, tore down that space, and the owners of that have passed. I mean, they have died. I think the kids still may have ownership, but no one's here.
Okay, yeah, we can.
Is there
we
any
can
way
get it
we
out.
can see about trying to get that moved?
Yes, ma'am, we'll get it out of there.
All right. Thank you, sir.
And Alice, I spoke with the, it wasn't the engineers, but it was the workers, I'm assuming, that were there today at the bottom of the hill by Subway. And they were supposed to be back to try to cut pathway in the back of the property at Chalmers Street where it was flooding. And we got a lot of that pumped out and dug out temporarily to help them out. And they were supposed to also be back, they said, to take all the tarps up around from all the drains.
Okay, yeah, Howard told me that the contract was supposed to be coming out, and I was under the impression that he was gonna call me when he came, but I'll touch bases with him and find out when they're coming so that I can let him know what my thoughts
Well,
are.
they're supposed to be there tomorrow, right, Howard?
That's correct. The contractor for that job
Okay,
was
mine is frozen, so I don't know.
Yeah, Lansdowne Earth and Pipe is supposed to be on site tomorrow to look at that project. That project is under warranty for the next year and 2 months, I believe.
Okay, I'll give him a call first thing in the morning and find out what time he's gonna be there, so that I can meet with him so that we get these issues addressed.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And also, I would like to note that PD Junk again is going out for me to remove a good bit of stuff out on some of the streets that has been left out, mattresses and stuff again. I know we passed that ordinance for the first reading tonight, so that's a desperate need there. So I would appreciate their help for going out and doing that for us at no charge to assist us to clean things up. All right. Before we adjourn, Thursday, June 18th, 2020 at 6 p.m.
Those dates have changed, Mayor.
Change the 25th, right? That's what I was going to say. All right, so that's the change on the agenda there. Thursday, June 25th of 2020, at 6 p.m. will be a public hearing, 2020-2021 budget at the Baldwin Gym. Tuesday.
It'll be Monday, June 29th.
The second one for the special city council meeting.
The special city council meeting will be Monday, June 29th.
Okay, so please make a note of that. Monday, that change is Monday, June 29th. Is the change on the agenda at 6 p.m. for the special city council meeting. And we will know by then whether or not it will be, we'll announce whether it's going to be by Zoom, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then Tuesday, July the 7th, 2020, 6:30 p.m., the monthly meeting for city council. And will it be announced also whether or not it will be in person or by Zoom? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion that we adjourn.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor?
Uh,
Gardner, aye.
I